Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I am your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I'm a professional soul contract reader, and I work with a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, astrology, tarot, and numerology to calculate what you incarnated here to do. And on today's episode, we are going to be looking into the cast members of the Pitt. But before I do that, I wanted to announce that this summer I'm going to be launching a soul contract calculator. How is this going to work? So I've been using Codex to program a calculator where I've input the formula for calculating your soul contract chart into this program. I put it up on my website. Right now, it's not going to calculate anything other than the numbers in your chart, but eventually what I'm going to have is a button that says unlock full soul contract analysis. It's there right now, but it doesn't work because I haven't attached the meaning to the numbers yet. I haven't programmed that in yet. But eventually this summer, you're going to be able to click on the button, purchase an automatically generated soul contract chart. And given that it automatically generates, it's going to save me time manually entering the numbers and calculating your soul contract chart, as well as deciphering it for you. And you're going to be able to just get it, bam, like right as soon as you purchase it. So that's something I'm really, really excited about. I'm so proud of myself. I'm still shocked that I found a way to do this, but thank you, Codex. So that's going to be exciting. I think I'm going to make a discount for the first month that it's running, maybe shorter, because it's going to be like beta testing this calculator. But right now on my website, you guys can actually go onto the soul contract calculator and enter your date of birth, and you can see the numbers generate into your soul contract chart. You're not going to know what they mean, but you can see what numbers you have. But without further ado, grab your cup of coffee. I have mine right here. And settle down because we're going to be going into the soul contracts of the cast of the Pitt. So we're going to start off with the actor that plays Dr. Michael Robbie Rabinovich. I thought his name was Robbie Rabinovich because they always called him Robbie. It's Dr. Michael Rabinovich, played by Noah Wyle. We're going to start off with his soul contract, and it's automatically a really powerful one because the primary numbers he has in his chart is 6 because he was born in June and 4 because he was born on the 4th. So he's a Gemini baby. He was born June 4th, 1971. And you guys know that I talk a lot about the 4s because I was gobsmacked when I first read about the 4s. So I'm going to try to condense everything that I've ever said about the 4s into one sentence. 4s can go one of two ways. It's kind of like a saint or sinner vibe. Like some of the very heaviest, like darkest soul contracts I've looked into have 4 as the primary number because 4 is the number of power, and obviously like power corrupts, right? So there are some people that do not take all of that power and ability on very well, and they use it for their own selfish gains, for their own needs. But then there are other people like Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou, Audrey Hepburn that have that 4 energy, that have managed to use all of their potential, all of their power, innate power, in order to make a very beautiful change in the world. So that is a very powerful energy to start off with right off the bat. That 6 energy in his primary number is the number of relationships. This is indicative of the theme of his incarnation. It's going to be centered around the relationships he has in his life. They're going to be very important to him, but also around the relationship he has within himself, which is a very interesting theme considering how the show has played out thus far. I know they're like taking a break until next season. I think it's the 3rd season, right? Me and my husband just finished watching the first 2, and throughout the entire time, he has a really hard time to prioritize himself, prioritize his health, and really get the mental help that he needs. And that would be an excellent example of how 6s manifest in misalignment, which is why I think he can play that role so well. I feel like he's very, very in tune and familiar with that overall theme of denying yourself, not prioritizing yourself, because in misalignment, 6s have this feeling of not enoughness. 6s have this overly self-sacrificial kind of vibe going on when they are in misalignment. And to step into alignment, they need to realize that they have to take care of themselves. They have to love themselves. Self-love and self-worth are very, very important themes for 6s. Starting off with the number like 4, it got me a little worried because I'm like, this soul contract could go really, really wrong. And I genuinely like Dr. Robbie. I like the character that Noah Wyle plays. So I don't want to immediately start having to crap on his soul contract, but there's no crapping on it. He has a pretty good karmic debt. It's not one where he was malicious. It's not one where he was like purposely torturing people or like killing people or responsible for the torture or murder of many. This is a karmic debt where he was in a position of disempowerment. He was not in a position of power. He was not in a position of freedom. And usually what happens with these kind of karmic debts is that in this incarnation, they tend to try and see the opposite spectrum of that. So the pendulum swings the other way, where they're going to have more freedom available to them, although their soul is going to remember this past life, have like memories of it, and still feel like they're trapped, still feel like they're limited, even though physically they're not, even though consciously in this reality, in this incarnation, they're not limited like they were back then. But this is something that he's going to need to overcome, because what comes along with this karmic debt is a feeling of inferiority. You feel like you're second class. You feel like you are not worthy. So the fact that he managed to get onto a show where he's essentially the lead character, I think is a huge testament to the inner work that must have been done in order to be like, hey, no, like I deserve lead roles. I'm not a background character. I'm not somebody that was meant to stay in the background. Like I can handle being in the spotlight. I can handle carrying the show. So that was very interesting to me. When it comes to talents and spiritual gifts, I feel like this is important to mention. He has the talent of 6, which is love and relationships. I feel like this speaks to why it's easy for him to kind of show these kind of relationship dynamics, much more complex than regular characters, where you kind of just scratch the surface of a person's internal thinking. And Dr. Michael Rabinovich is complex and unpredictable, because one minute he's super empathetic, he's advocating for his patients, and the next minute he's bullying the people that he's working with and snapping at them because he doesn't want to baby them. So there's a very different kind of relationship. So I think that gift is kind of shining through when it comes to his acting ability. Now, wouldn't you know, he has the number 17 in his talents and spiritual gifts. This isn't something that he inherited. This is something that's directly from him. He has the number 17. 17 is star potential. 17 means that you are either going to become a celebrity or be around celebrity energy. But these kind of people that have 17s in their soul contract, were meant to be in the spotlight. They were not meant to be background actors. These souls were meant to be the star of the show, meant to be lead actors, carrying a show, having a spotlight, because they have something to say, they have something to share. Along with that 17, he has 2 10s in his spiritual gifts. And 10s is the number of fortune. That means a lot of wealth, a lot of money, a lot of abundance. Now let's get into his subconscious programs. For those of you that are new here, subconscious programs are the thoughts, limiting beliefs, karmic cycles, or even blessings that your soul has agreed to incarnate here with. And the first one we see in Noah Wyle's chart is the mimicry program. So the mimicry program is the actor/actress program. These are people that are very, very good actors. Now, on one hand, that's a very excellent program to have if you aspire to be an actor, if you aspire to win have Oscar nominations and everything like that. But on the other hand, this makes it very hard to tell who this person is underneath all of the faces, all of the masks that they wear. So I love this for Noah Wyle as an actor. As a person, it's a little concerning. If it goes into misalignment, it's going to be dependent on the actual person, whether a program is manifesting positively or negatively. If it's manifesting positively, you're essentially getting the brownie points, getting the perks of having that kind of program in your soul contract. If it's in misalignment, there could be some negative things happening, like cycles happening, karmic cycles that you're going to need to heal in order for you to step into that program in its positive, in its alignment, so that you can handle the perks of that kind of program. The next program we see for him is the program of devaluation. Devaluation sounds bad, but in its positive manifestation, devaluation means that this person is really good at appreciating what life has to offer. Like, they're the type of people that know when to stop and smell the flowers, know when to and how to appreciate a beautiful sunset. Like, they really soak in the richness of life and they appreciate everything it has to offer. In misalignment, the opposite happens. So when they get down, when they get stuck in some bad energy or stuck in a loop where they're facing something difficult and they're struggling, they could fall into misalignment where nothing will be enough for them. Even if they had the whole entire world at their feet, they can't appreciate it because they don't value it. It's like they can't see what they have. Lastly, the last program I want to mention in Noah Wyle's chart. Overall, I think this is a great chart. I think this is a very spiritual, I won't say spiritual, but I'll say it's high vibrational soul contract compared to some celebrities. The last program he has is the Midas Touch program. It essentially is a blessing. It means that everything that you touch, you manage to transform, you manage to make it successful, you manage to be extremely successful at it. So I love that for him. I don't know if we're going to see more of him, but I know that whatever projects he picks up after this, I don't know if he's going to decide to take a hiatus for a little while. Whatever projects he touches, it is going to be gold. He just has this energy about him that enriches the things that he works on. And I wonder if his cast members would say the same thing about him. I feel like that's his vibe. Let's go into the next cast member of the Pitt. We're going to take a look at Katherine LaNasa's soul contract. Katherine LaNasa plays Dana Evans in the Pitt. And again, we're starting off with a banger number. She was born December 1st, 1966. One, especially in your day of birth, is very, very powerful. This person is a master manifester. She has to be really careful with her thoughts, though. This is the trickiest part about being a one, having a one for a primary number, because it is the number of the magician. So it means that your thoughts manifest into reality very quickly. And although it sounds like a really cool superpower, it's insanely difficult to harness the power of your mind and not manifest negative things as well, because we can't always be hyper optimistic. But ones need to at least err on the side of positivity because of how fast things manifest for them. So, for example, if they go into a concert thinking, parking's going to be horrible, parking's going to be impossible, I won't be able to find a parking spot, it's going to take me forever to get to the show, I'm going to be late. they are going to manifest that. So they need to be really locked and loaded when it comes to making sure that they're always trying to assume the best, assume that the universe isn't out to get them, assume that the universe is conspiring in their favor. If they master that, they're going to be able to create their reality. Now, for her karmic debt, we see the debt of addiction/infidelity. So what likely occurred in her past life is that she hurt her family in a certain way, either through addiction, maybe she was addicted to something and her parents or her family kind of had to pick up the pieces, or she was unfaithful and it caused tension in the family. In this incarnation, it might manifest as a repeating of that cycle. That cycle might repeat. It could be in childhood where she witnesses that kind of dynamic, either addiction or infidelity, mirrored to her in her parents. And that could be in an effort to get her to be like, okay, like, make sure that you don't repeat the same dynamic. Or it could be something that manifests later on in life for her. When we take a look at her spiritual gifts and talents, we see the number 19, which is the number of prosperity. This is a soul that was incarnated here to experience success, to experience being successful in their career. She has that number coming up for her twice. And we also see the number 18 coming in for her from her paternal lineage. So it's likely that that lineage has dabbled in some magic, in some secret knowledge, or mysticism, because that power has carried over to her. So she's likely an intuitive soul. She likely knows how to read people or pick up on energies. I don't know how discreetly or non-discreetly that's happening for her, but that's a gift that she has. Now, for subconscious programs, she has some pretty uncommon ones. She has the divorce program, which means that you are going to either divorce at some point in your incarnation, or you're going to be born into a family that will divorce or has divorced, be a child of divorce. The other program that's sticking out to me is the program of revenge. Most famously, I say that Taylor Swift has this program, and it essentially means that you may forgive people for what they did to you, but you don't forget. So this is somebody that holds grudges, that will remember what you did if you offended them, if you scorned them, whatever it is that you did, they didn't forget it. And they will use that offense to fuel them, to make it their drive in order to achieve bigger and greater things. So although it might sound like a bad program, it's not necessarily a bad program to have if it's fueling you, if it's giving you the strength and the energy you need to go after your dreams. Let's move on to the next cast member, Taylor Dearden, who plays Mel in the Pitt. Taylor was born February 12th, 1993. 2 is the number of the peacemaker, so we have some of that peacemaker energy coming through. I wonder if there's ever like problems on set or conflicts on set. She's like, no guys, let's just all get along. She does not like conflict. She does not do conflict very well. She'll almost get to a point of being like passive about certain things, and in order not to stir the pot, like rock the boat, that kind of thing. But let's take a look at her karmic debt. Her karmic debt is the debt of the hermit. So in a past life, there was a lot of either knowledge available to her, either she dedicated her life to like studying something, learning something. There was something she was passionate about that she was working on that she refused to share with other people. It was something she was good at. It doesn't always come up as somebody that had mystical knowledge, like magical knowledge or herbology even. It doesn't always come up as that. It might be somebody that was just really good at something, that had a gift, like say painting, and they painted a lot. Or there was a poet that only published a couple of poems she wrote. And then after her passing, her sister found like hundreds and hundreds of poems that she later published. It's that kind of vibe where you're kind of producing things, you're kind of using your gift, but you're not sharing it with people. You're not letting other people be exposed to that beauty in the artwork that you're creating. That is the karmic debt of the hermit. You are holding inside what it is that you love to do, your creative expression, instead of sharing it with the world, sharing your uniqueness with the world. The fact that she is now in a show as popular as The Pitt is, again, a huge, huge testimony to how much work she has done, because that karmic debt comes along with that cycle repeating where you again feel like, oh, but I don't really want to step out of my comfort zone. I don't really want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to be criticized or scrutinized for what it is that I produce. She's now very much in the public. She's doing something that's very, very big. So it's safe to say that that karmic debt has cleared for her in this incarnation. When it comes to spiritual gifts, she has a couple of numbers that I really love, but probably the most powerful one is the number of potential. Potential means that this person can really push the boundaries of how far they want to go in life. She can use her gifts to become the best at what it is that she does. For example, Michael Jackson. This is somebody that knew how to push the boundaries of his creativity in order to become the king of pop, the best at what he does. He wasn't just a singer, he was a songwriter, he was a brilliant, brilliant artist. And this is the kind of potential that Taylor has sitting in her soul contract. She also has the 19, the prosperity, spiritual gift, and talent. So destined to be successful. I feel like I touched a little on that, so I won't touch on it again. When it comes to subconscious programs, the most important one to note is the Millionaire program. This is a program that is not freely given. This is not something that you just get. This is something that is earned when it comes to your soul contract. Usually it's from an IOU from a previous life where you either saved somebody's life or did some kind of huge grand gesture. And now in this life, you're going to be repaid. So the fact that she has a Millionaire program means that at some point in her incarnation, either through work, either through luck, either through inheritance, she's going to come into a large amount of money. And I feel like it's safe to say that that's happened for her. However, I don't know, maybe she's going to get more money later. Maybe there's more coming in for her. Lastly, I want to take a look at Isa Briones. I was debating on which soul contracts I wanted to look into, but those 4 out of all the cast members stood out to me the most. Isa is the one that plays Dr. Santos, and she was born January 17th, 1999. So she carries what Katherine has, that 1 energy, along with the energy of 17, which is the energy of the star. That is celebrity energy. Guess who else has that 17? Michael Jordan. These people were born to be on the screen. These people were born to be celebrities, born to be in the spotlight, not meant to be background actors, not meant to shy away and like be a wallflower, be on the outskirts of society. These people were meant for a stage. She carries the same karmic debt that Noah Wyle, Robbie Rabinovich, has, which is very interesting. So she also had to overcome this feeling of inferiority, feeling like you were a second-class citizen and being like, no, I'm not inferior. I'm just like you guys. I deserve just as much. I'm enough. I am worthy. The fact that she is also on the Pitt is indicative of this karmic debt also being cleared. Whenever people get successful like this, it's not always, it depends on exactly what your soul came here to do. Whenever people gain success and money is a very spiritual thing. So when that's coming in for you relatively easily, it's likely that there was some work that had been done and you are really reaping the rewards from that shadow work. Let's take a look at her talents and spiritual gifts. We have the number of 1, the magician. So that's double now. That's 2 ones. She was born in January and now she has that spiritual gift. That means that talents and spiritual gifts, she has that 1 energy coming up again. It means that she manifests her thoughts rapidly. So she has to be very, very careful to not be pessimistic, to not have negative thoughts because they will manifest. The next number she has is the number 13. There were some other soul contracts that we just talked about that also had that number, so I feel I'll touch on it now. 13 is the number of transformation. It's essentially Phoenix energy. These are people that you can strip them of everything they have. They're going to rebuild it all back up and end up somehow coming back stronger. So these are people that can constantly reinvent themselves, constantly like die, rebirth, come back stronger. It's giving me the energy of Robert Downey Jr. I want to take a look at his soul contract and see if he has this number, because this is what it feels like. He had like drug addiction issues, right? He was not doing well, but somehow he reinvented himself. That is the definition of this energy: transformation and reinvention. And then coming in from her maternal lineage, from her ancestors on her mother's side, she has the gift of potential and the star talent, again, celebrity, meant to achieve great things, be the best at what she does. Let's move on to programs. She also has the mimicry program, the actor-actress program, just like Noah Wyle. So there's some Oscar level potential there if she chooses to stick with it. And there's another program that she has in common with Noah Wyle, but I would rather touch on the Restless Souls program she has, because that one is far less common. And the one other soul contract I've come across that has this program was Ronda Rousey's. So when these kind of souls are at the height of their career, they are unstoppable. They are a force of nature. They are fearless. They can achieve anything that they set out to do. However, do you guys remember when Ronda Rousey had that one loss that she could not come back from? Everybody was criticizing her for always like not choking people out, for always choking people out in the first couple of seconds and beating them that way. They're like, oh, but you're not actually like fighting, you're not actually grappling. So she decided not to do that and then lost, and then got hit with an unbearable depression. That is the program of Restless Souls. When these people get depressed, it gets really dark. So Isa Briones also carries this kind of potential to get to a really dark place. Not only do they get very miserable, they can also like start bringing other people down because they're like infecting them with this very low and dense, sad energy. And then what follows is just House of Cards falls down because they feel so miserable already. And then the little strength that they have left, every time they summon it and try to do something, it doesn't end up working. So it brings them down further. So it's a very scary and dangerous loop to get into. This is something that she'll likely face in her lifetime if she hasn't already. But I thought that that was important to note to understand her as a soul. The program itself is stemming from an ancestry issue. It's like a cycle that happens in your family. So it's like inner child stuff. So I'd be interested, I don't know much about Isa Briones, but I would be interested to look into her family life, her early childhood, as well as Ronda Rousey's, because that's who else carries this subconscious program, in order to understand where that hole in her energy is coming from. So that's what I have for you guys in regards to cast members of the Pitt. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 for me to look into the rest of the cast members. Otherwise, if you were interested in getting a soul contract, you can go to my website, thesoulecosystem.com, or my Etsy shop, The Soul Ecosystem, to get your soul contract and find out what you incarnated here to do. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday.